What's up?
What's going on
Here we are, back again.
on a gloomy, rainy day?
Hey, don't give it
What
away.
some of my favorite
Away.
days.
People may be listening to this on a sunshiny day.
That's
and
true.
think it's
A
live.
great sunshiny day. So, do you like the more gloomy kind of days or the more sunshiny days?
Well, I love a good sunshiny day.
Do you?
I don't mind a rainy day either.
Yeah. I like a nice rainy
I wouldn't want a
rainy day.
rainy day all the time.
My favorite thing to do, is when you got a nice spring shower, right? Is to open up the back sliding door and like lay down with like a pillow and just take a nap. Listening to that, that nice spring shower, little thunder, nothing little close, nothing close, but
Little earthy
ooh,
smell wafting across the carpet.
yes, and it's that I know people like have those clocks or whatever that will do. A lot of them will do the background noise or whatever, so that helps them sleep.
Sounds
Sometimes
like
they've
the
got
ocean.
the ocean. So I'm sure there's like a rain shower, but it's different when you're feeling that like kind of cold air kind of hit you, and that's that smell of that rain. Somebody should really make, and if you do, I just want 0.1% of your profits. Someone should make one that has the sound and like the fragrance that goes with the sound,
because usually that.
and a little mister.
No, because usually there's like there's a very specific like okay smell of rain, but a lot of times my Northwest Missouri-ness, it smells like catfish.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I could
Because
go
I
with
think
that.
catfish smell like mud, and you get enough rain, you get mud. And I understand that the mud here is very specific to here. It has to be. It's
Yeah.
got the makeup of it. Its smell has to be very specific. But a lot of time, too much rain smells like catfish.
Interesting.
Not like fried catfish, or just like
Just freshly
a
caught,
fresh, wiggly
right out of the-
little catfish.
Right. We used to fish for catfish in South Texas. They'd have these, they call them resacas, which are like canals through the farmland that, they would feed the crops out of, right? But these things are big. I mean, ships can go down them and stuff, right? They're not like little. So we had one near our house a couple blocks away, and we used to dump dog food into where we're going to fish the day before, right? So the cheapest Old Roy dog food you can find. They don't like the good stuff.
Is it going to dry float, or is it sinking?
Sinks.
But
right?
is it like liquid out of a can?
No. The dry.
But it sinks.
But it sinks, right? So you just sprinkle that over where you're gonna fish. We would do it off the bridge, off the side of the bridge, right? And sprinkle a bunch down, and then we would have bait shrimp, frozen bait shrimp, and you just hook a little piece of it, right? 30 seconds, giant catfish. And you do that for hours. I mean, I think we caught and released, right? But we're probably catching the same catfish over and over again. But you could go for hours and catch hundreds of catfish. Just how I would not eat anything that would come out of one of those resacas, but it was fun.
Well, we used to catch them with because we have the farm raised catfish in the farm pond, and you feed them with the stuff that floats, and they come up and eat. So then you put the little loops of the little cat food. And you put the little loops, little Cheerio things, onto the hook.
They just come up and grab it.
Put 3 or 4 on the hook, and they'll float. And they'll come up and grab it.
Yeah.
With the hook in it.
Nice.
Then you pull it out. Then we ate them.
They're
ate delicious.
I'm not a big fish person, and I'm not a big. If I was going to eat fish, I would not eat a bottom dweller. Crab, lobster, catfish, anything that eats the leftover junk of all the other fishes is probably not my go-to. People would say pigs are that for livestock.
Could be, yeah.
They'll eat anything, right? Well, I'm guessing goats kind of eat anything too, right? I don't know. I've never had one.
Well, I don't know that a goat would get into like, I don't know that a goat would be like an omnivore, like a pig, like a pig will eat,
Sure.
pig will eat meat. I don't know, do goats eat meat?
I don't know, but I don't they eat like they'll eat like a can if you leave it there, right? Like they'll eat anything. They'll try to eat anything.
Yeah.
They're just like, oh, this must be delicious. I don't know.
I don't know. What do you want to talk about today, Keith? Because I think
What?
where we were going with this, well, we weren't going anywhere.
We had a direction with this conversation.
We didn't have a direction, but the other day we said, oh, you know what we should talk about?
What?
And we should do some research for it. Well, we didn't do the research.
Nope,
But
sure didn't.
But I have my laptop here, so we can do a little layman's research. But we have All Saints Day coming up.
We do.
And I thought we could talk a little bit about All Saints Day.
Yeah, and I would say unless you're like heavily involved in church or go every week, you may not know what All Saints Day is, right?
Yeah.
Like if you're I would say a typical like, hey, busy, can't make it to church, whatever, don't see it. You could go 3 or 4 years and miss an All Saints Day because it's only one time a year.
Yeah, and there's
right?
there's historical Christian roots to it through Catholicism, and there's saints, but this is a lot of saints like have their own day, like St. Patrick.
St. Patrick's Day.
So, a lot of saints get their own day.
Drove the snakes out of Ireland.
That's another conversation for another day. I don't know that that's 100% accurate. But this is for all saints, either known or unknown, or known only to God saints. Mm-hmm. So, all of them. It's just a good day to just cover all saints.
Now, I have a question for you.
It's November 1st, by the way.
And you may not know the answer because we're both laymen. So
no, but that's why I said we can ask the internet where someone will have answered this question accurately or inaccurately.
So the Catholic tradition of being sanctified, there's like a whole criteria you got to go through to be a saint, right? Like you have to perform a miracle, you have to have had one sign of the cross at some point or something. You know what I mean? Like and then post death, something needs to happen too. I don't know the exact.
Those are just, you don't have to meet all the criteria. Those are just certain.
You have to meet certain criteria. Let's just put it that way. It's been a long time since Catholic school, so
yeah. But like, if your body doesn't decompose, that's like a criteria met, right?
Yeah,
like,
from my understanding, and we're laymen. We could be completely wrong about all this. Okay, when we probably are. But my understanding is you have to meet a certain amount of the criteria. So it's not just if one of those things happen, it's a multitude of things happen.
But we're talking about all saints.
Right. So my question is, that's the Catholic kind of tradition, right? In the Methodist tradition, is there that we don't really have saints of this and saints of that, right? We just really we don't really go through the same like sanctification process.
So I did a little research, but like
very little.
But what I'm reading here is that it's celebrated in honor of all the saints of the church, whether they're known or unknown, right? Mm-hmm. So it's a feast, and in Western Christianity,
I love food.
It's us here. It's November 1st. And of our Protestant churches, Lutherans, Anglicans, and Methodist traditions, we celebrate it also.
We do celebrate it.
And what I like about it is we take it as an opportunity to remember and respect and celebrate all those that have had that we've lost in the faith around us, and have had we remember the impact they've had on our life, the impact they've had on our community, the impact they've had on our church, honor what they've given to the community, and have a day of remembrance.
Yeah.
So we do that here. We do that here at our church, which is
this would be this Sunday, not the technical All Saints Day, but
closest Sunday to it.
Yep.
And I think it's a great tradition. I'm glad we do it.
Yeah, I think I think it's important to kind of reflect on um, our individual journey of faith, and then this day gives you the ability to reflect on the people in your life that were the most impactful, that maybe have steered you in a direction, or maybe changed your mind about something, or given you a good example of what it means to be a follower of Christ, right? So who do you think of, like, when you when you're thinking about who's Mitch's
Oh, my
saint,
grandparents. I have.
and they can still be alive. I'm just saying, like, who's really influenced your faith?
No, I think grandparents are just a wonderful. My grandparents are just wonderful examples of living out living out their Christian faith. Through just their honest approach to life and moral obligation and leadership and living exemplar lives within the community
Yeah.
and for a long time. Like
Right.
I think
Right.
that I think that's to me that's that one of those hallmarks of people I think of on All Saints Day is longevity of because what's Eugene Peterson would say in this long journey in the same direction,
Right.
that dedicated faith, that discipleship is a mark of a Christian. So those are the folks I think of at this time. It's ones with longevity and unwavering faith
Yeah.
over decades.
Yeah. I think for me it would be my great aunt. She we her name was Wilma, but we called her Ike because when she was in grade school, they had a play and they didn't have any men doing the play, so she got to play a boy named Ike, and so everybody called her Ike from then on.
Oh
in
my
her
goodness.
life, right? So you could call her Aunt Wilma, or you could call her Aunt Ike. She'd go by either. Well, anyway, she spent a lot of her youth in Oklahoma and the Indian reservations teaching English and teaching Christianity, and she suffered like 10 or 11 heat strokes doing this, right? And the several of the last ones she lost like use of, and it was really weird too. It was like one arm and then the opposite leg, right? And she was very fun to be around because she would lose her train of thought. She would lose like a word, like she would ask you to she'd be making something and want you to get her a spoon or something to stir, right? And she'd be like, "Can you get the and she couldn't come up with it." And so it was like a guessing game, right? But every time you guessed something that was wrong, she would get so upset because she's trying to like put out this word. Anyway, I just remember they both my aunt and my uncle, but her had such a passion for helping people that like their house was this like revolving door for anybody that needed, she had some painter friends that would get kicked out of their apartment because they didn't have any money, and they would just come and live there for a couple months. And then she was a hairdresser too for a little while, and like my whole family were hairdressers. And so she'd cut their hair and feed them and let them stay. And then they'd paint her something and scratch up enough money to go get another apartment, for 6 months before they got kicked out again. So it was just this like revolving door of just this openness, and so it was really nice. So I definitely think of her when I think of it, because to your point, it's that lifelong commitment. Everything that has happened to her, she never blamed any, like, it wasn't about, oh, poor me, I can't use my arm or whatever, right? It was just a part of her, and she overcame it and just continued to be herself,
Continued to be a blessing to the world, no matter the situation.
Yeah, no matter the situation. I think that's the struggle for a lot of people, right? Is it's easy to be a blessing to others when things are going easy for you, but the moment that things don't go easy for you, can you still do you retreat to that self-centeredness, right? Of, now I got to fix my situation before you can then be a blessing for others again? Or do you just continue being you and being a blessing no matter what your situation is? That's hard.
Yeah, maintaining. Yeah,
I mean, it's hard. It's definitely a struggle, and so that's what I think of, and I think we're on the same page of, like, that's who
think
you
of selfless people.
service,
selfless, obedient Christians that joyfully have selfless obedience, not begrudgingly, but just
just ingrained in them. Yeah. So day after Halloween is All Saints Day. Any coincidence there that you picked the day after Halloween? Because I mean, it's definitely like,
well, Halloween is All Hallows Eve,
right?
So then All Saints Day is All Hallows Day,
Mm-hmm.
and then the day after, so then November 2nd is All Souls Day. Is that right?
I think that's right.
So then you have all. So if you back it up, you have All Souls Day. The day before that's All Saints Day. The day before that is the Eve,
All Saints Day Eve, also known as Halloween.
also known as Halloween.
Right.
But then I think there's a blending of, historically there, I think there's a blending of stuff.
Yeah, I want to talk about
Because I don't know how we landed on November 1st. Like a lot of our Christian religious holidays have interesting origins throughout history of how we created a calendar, and Roman Catholicism and the Roman Empire encompassed lots of peoples and
cultural blending.
a lot of cultural blending and a lot of procreation of different holidays, I guess,
Yeah.
or celebrations.
Yeah. Because, these people would bring their traditions and holidays. And as a human species, who doesn't like to celebrate and have a good time?
Yeah. So I don't know. I haven't done a whole lot of research on it, but I don't think Halloween's strictly. I think there's probably a combination of things. It's not just
that.
It's
but
not just a celebration of the evening before All Saints Day.
I do find it interesting from just a cultural perspective of how so many cultures see All Hallows Eve as a time for celebration and remembrance, and remembering the people that have passed, right? And how America has now turned it into dressing up and getting candy.
Don't we do that with everything though?
I mean, 4th of July, you don't hand out candy. Oh, I guess a parade, right? You throw out candy. I find that fascinating that we've kind of changed. We've kind of, I don't want to say commercialized it, because that's too benign, right? That's like everybody says, "Oh, we just commercialized Valentine's Day for the flower business, But I do find it interesting that we have taken a party and turned it into a weird party where people dress up like scary things.
Well, hey, also we
You know.
have Dia de los Muertos.
Right.
That? So I just looked that up. That's synonymous with the All Souls Day, generally. So
And that's a day of celebration,
yeah,
not of let me dress up like Frankenstein and scare some little kids.
that's true.
You know what I mean? Like where did we get from let's celebrate, let's party, and then to let's now scare children with spiders and creepy things?
Well, I do remember like a History Channel special like forever ago. I think there's that side of it has some Celtic root of light versus dark.
Okay.
Now, from my memory, I think that might from the History Channel special that I watched 20 years ago.
20 years ago, right?
But I think that may have the light and the dark may be part of where we get into the scary the dark side of right
Yeah,
because even
yeah.
if you look at Halloween costumes today, you have the light and the dark, right? Like
Sure. Like you're a Ghostbuster or Super Mario.
Yeah, some
or
people
Luigi.
yeah.
And then you're like a witch or
Yeah.
Frankenstein or.
But yeah, you can have Glinda the Good, or you can have Elphaba.
Okay, I want to hear your best. Your
Most
best
favorite Halloween candy.
Halloween.
So
no. I want to know your favorite Halloween costume that you dressed up as growing up. What was your absolute favorite
as a
kid? All the way up to no wait. Here, let's ask the first question. When did you stop trick or treating?
Trick or treating?
Yeah, you going out dressed up with a bucket getting candy.
I went with some friends, I think in 6th grade.
You're so lame.
Might have been my last trick or treating outing where I was on the sole purpose of procuring candy.
Oh man. I was in high school. I was my senior year of high school. Now here's caveats before everybody starts groaning and yelling at me. I had a legit costume. I didn't just like pull out like my tennis racket, my tennis uniform, and be like, I'm a tennis player. And we waited until like 9:30 before we even went out trick or treating. Like you let the kids go, you let the little kids go and have fun. We would hand out candy at the house when the little kids started like wrapping up. Got the high school friends together. We cruised some neighborhoods. A lot less house are lights on then at that point, but I would say for the most part, people enjoyed it because we were all dressed up. And honestly, they were done with the candy anyways, and half the time they would just dump the whole thing
take the whole bucket.
Yeah, it's like 9:30, bro. Here you go. Good costume. So it was my senior year. That's pretty. I mean, it's pretty good. But what was your favorite costume?
I don't know.
Do you remember any of them?
I'm trying to remember back to what. We were Ghostbusters one time, which was really awesome.
Now, did your mom make any of your costumes?
Yeah, allegedly, I was the cutest little Peter Pan. Because they put me in green tights.
Nice.
For it. Yeah.
Gonna need a picture.
Which I then in turn replicated and did to my son when he was a baby.
Oh, that's good. I should dress up Parker as Peter Pan one year.
Ooh, I might, yeah. I made the cutest little Peter Pan costume for Grant when he was Parker's age.
Yeah, did you get felt and actually make a?
No, I made I had a green. I had a green polo shirt, like a forest green polo shirt.
Okay.
Men's.
Yeah.
Large.
Yeah. So it was big for him.
I turned that thing inside out, put
Yeah.
it on him, had him stand on a chair, and then pinned it up to
Yeah,
fit him
okay.
like make it fitted. And then I ran it through the sewing machine and made everything smaller, and then pulled off the buttons and threw some leather through the
Yep.
through the
holes.
collar,
Yep.
and then it hung down to
Yeah.
mid past his knee. Well, then I just cut it
Yep.
into the
Little triangles
little
or whatever.
triangles. Perfect. I felt real smart.
You know what? My mom made our costumes until like maybe third or fourth grade, and then what we wanted was so elaborate at that point. It was hard to just make. Would you remember He-Man?
Yeah.
Okay. The little wizard guy with a giant hat, like all he was like a giant hat with some ears sticking out, and I believe the name was Oro. I'm pretty sure she made that hat for me, and it it covered my body, right? So I went as Oro one year. That was a pretty epic costume. I don't remember what I was one year, but again, it's Missouri, and on Halloween it's either 90 degrees
Either
or
hot
freezing
or
rain.
freezing cold.
Right. And I remember one year I was probably in second grade, maybe first or second grade, and it was freezing rain out, like freezing rain all day. My brother had the flu. My mom had the flu. And I was begging my dad to go trick-or-treating. I mean, like begging. And he's like, dude, it's freezing rain. It's been dark all day. Nobody's come and ding-donged us. Look out the door. Nobody's got their lights on, right? And I'm seeing like two houses with lights on. And I'm like, come on, please. So they got me dressed up. Got the one-piece suit that zips up, for like the snow, right? And I was literally like A Christmas Story, where they get all bundled up and you can't put the arms down, and so they just hung the bucket. I think I made it one house down before I was like, it is too cold. Let's go home. So we turned around, went back home, and we just busted up the candy that we were going to give out, and we just sat there and ate candy.
That's great.
It was great. It was great. It was great. Now this year it seems like it's going to be cold for us. So that's always I like the cold Halloweens because it makes me feel more in the mood rather than like at some 90 degrees you're sweating while you're trick or treating. But it's just not as fun. There's not as much people out and that kind of the hubbub. And
Well,
stuff.
I mean, so you did that one year that I went and trick or treated with a friend in sixth grade. That's the year like I went into town in air quotes,
yeah.
And trick or treated with a friend in the
Town,
neighborhood,
yeah.
right?
The one
in the town.
Yeah.
But like prior to that, we would, so we'd have our school party,
Mm-hmm.
and then we'd also put on our costume and we'd hop in the old family minivan, and we would drive to 20 minutes to go see my grandparents.
Oh, okay.
So they
yeah,
could see the costume.
Yeah.
And then they have a little treat bag. And then we drive another 20 minutes to the other grandparents, and they'd see our costumes with a treat bag. And we'd stop by an aunt's house or an uncle's house,
Yeah.
and then we'd go stop. So we'd
trick or treat around family.
trick or treat around family in the minivan on like a 150-mile road trip on Halloween evening.
Yeah, I've thought about doing that with the kids. With the kids now, but like one grandparent's 40 minutes away and the other grandparent's an hour and 10 minutes away, so it's difficult. What I like about our neighborhood is that
I come to your neighborhood every year.
yeah, you do. And what's great, and you'll attest to this, is probably only half of the houses will answer the door and give candy. The other half just leave it on the front step because everybody has kids. So everybody just kind of leaves the candy on the front step and then takes their kids out, and you just kind of end up getting the candy from a bowl, The past couple of years, though, either Shauna or I have stayed in the driveway and handed out, because I really get a kick out of seeing all the costumes.
Yeah,
of,
and
like,
your
all the
neighborhood's
kids.
great because there's like every fifth house, there's like a garage party going
Yeah,
on.
yeah, lots
And,
of garage parties.
You know, it's like, oh, these 4 houses in a row, there's just candy on the porch because
Yeah.
all of those occupants are at a bonfire in this
Yeah,
driveway.
exactly.
With lawn chairs.
With lawn chairs, yeah. And then there's a dude that always gives out Hot Wheels.
Yeah.
There's a couple of houses like that where they'll give out, instead of candy, they'll give out, a Hot Wheel car or pencils or, stuff that the kids really like. So our neighborhood's great for trick or treating. And a lot of people know each other, so it's just it's great. But yeah, I think I get a bigger kick out of seeing all the other kids and their creativity that they have of costumes and stuff.
Yeah, and I think it's to bring it back like we had a great Fall into Fun festivities here at the church. We had a little trunk or treating, right? Which I think the history of trunk or treating was like this alternative to the trick or treating. Like original church trunk or treats were these safe, easy trick or treating that can be done on Halloween in the church parking lot. Well, ours has morphed into a great fall festivities that are that's off the Halloween holiday.
Yeah.
But it's this great opportunity for the kids to, dress up. It's in the afternoon. It's come through and everybody get. So I loved our fall festival trunk or treat thing. There's this awesome guy there giving out hot dogs. That was cool. But
dressed up like a hot dog.
He did. Ballpark Frank was his name. But I think it's a cool. Then on Halloween, like it's great seeing all the kids from church out in town. Like all the people you see trick or treat in the different neighborhoods here in town is wonderful too, because it's you'll even cluster up in little moving church groups around town. And,
yeah. I also like our neighborhood attracts a lot of the more rural areas up north and west, so you'll get a lot of the minivan that's covered in gravel dust, right? That pulls up and then like 15 kids just like unpile out of it like a clown car, and then they go up and down and stuff like that. So I think that's pretty cool too, to see like, that everybody kind of coming, like it's not just that neighborhood's kids, kind of to your point, like, I'm sure
it's a community event.
Yeah, it's a big community event. So I think that's great. Now, last question, because we're out of seconds of time.
Yeah,
and I need to ask this because it's
nobody's
highly
still
important.
listening anyway.
No,
so
probably not.
Fire away.
Do your kids understand daddy tax?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay.
They pay their taxes.
So I teach my kids that in life, whatever you earn, you have to pay tax on it, right? And so for Halloween, we have 2 rules. 1, all the candy goes in a big bucket. It doesn't matter, like those are not your Mike and Ike's, right? It's everybody's. We all gathered it together, okay? And then of course there's Daddy gets to pick what he wants first.
Oh, really?
Right out of it. And I usually pick stuff they don't want anyways. I like Milk Duds, and Gobstoppers. Those are my things, or Snickers. And so I'll take a couple pieces of candy out of it as daddy tax. So one of my kids, Piper, the middle one, was at school, and they were I forget what they were doing. They were doing something where they were getting candy or like whatever, right? And so she's like saving hers up or whatever, and the other kids started eating it. And they're like, Piper, why aren't you eating? And she's like, oh, well, I gotta get my daddy tax first. So she wasn't eating the candy so she could come home. Well, anyway, these kids are like, what's daddy tax? Destroyed the whole concept.
Oh,
for her.
really?
She's like, is this something you made up? I'm like, no, this is legit. Everyone should know this. So there's adults out there not getting their fair share of the loot. I find this ridiculous. And I don't even think my parents did it, to be honest. Like I I don't remember that being a thing. I just remember like as the kids got older, or as I had kids, it was like, oh, hey, look at that,
Oh, we're just pretty communal with all the, it's
Yeah.
like we dump it all the candy out. It's like, ooh, what's that?
Yeah. We go through the candy. My wife goes through the candy and picks out the stuff nobody is going to eat anyways, or stuff that like, Parker's kind of allergic to some stuff. So she kind of puts that off to the side or
Yeah,
whatever.
we've done the we've done the allergy.
So you kind of go through and you kind of sort the candy anyways.
Daddy
And then one
Tax
big-
was pretty awesome in the early days of peanut allergy.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
I believe that. I
Now,
believe
like
that.
20 pounds later, it's probably bad.
Well, that's it. That's all the time we got.
All right. Well, everybody have a happy, safe holiday, and hopefully we see some of you at All Saints Day, and or we did see some of you at All Saints celebration, and
Have a safe Halloween.
yeah. Bye bye.